Joining me, this is Reverend Dr. Jason W. Morrison, theologist, Gosford, Central Coast, New South Wales, Australia. Emotional incest and demonology. Emotional incest is a tragedy amongst humanity at the moment, and has been probably throughout all history. Parents giving favouritism to children. I'm sure many of you have been in the local soccer club or footy club or netball team or sports team, and the coach's daughter or the coach's son has been shown partiality. That just comes with the territory, but that's just a small parallel idea of how, on a deeper spiritual scale, emotional incest works. People have unfortunate things happen to them early on in their lives. Could be sexual abuse, could be a bad accident, it could be you hopped in a scalding bath accidentally, could be you were told to, eat a dinner there's all sorts of illegitimate disciplinarian things and militant things that have taken place in people's lives. Unfortunate things. Sometimes things that we've done to ourselves, where we've unlocked the car door while it's going along and fallen out of the car possibly, made a decision, playing around, and harm somebody else accidentally. All these forms of trauma can cause people to turn to self-destructive ways of life. Now, with this trauma can also come demonic impregnation, demonic intrusion, demonization. And the demons will prey on the person's bend towards evil in terms of the way in which they choose to be destructive towards themselves or the people that they're involved with, and or both. Now, some of these people, through the pain of the way in which they choose to harm themselves or maim themselves, or the substances that they take on and the habits that they create for themselves, can come out of this in its infantile stages. Right? They get sick of the pain, they get sick of the loss, they get sick of the torment, they get sick of the cost, financial cost. They get sick of losing friends, they get sick of the damage that it causes to them, and they dramatically, by some kind of miracle, because a lot of these people aren't Christian, they just have the sense to find a way out before the real problems start to destroy their lives, spiritually, mentally, and physically. Because that's what demons want to do. When I was young and a young minister, we lived at a place called Point Clare, again on the Central Coast, New South Wales, and the cemetery was behind us. As young kids, we used to play in the cemetery and, ride our bikes through the cemetery and run around the cemetery. And then Grandad and I had a walk where we'd walk around the block and then around the perimeter of the cemetery. And the cemetery, funnily enough, had a pretty significant place in our lives. I wouldn't say a major place, but we did walk through the cemetery and around it. It was part of a walk. They actually made a walk through it. But when I became a minister, I took a different view of the cemetery and looked at it in a different way. And one of the things that I noticed that come to me via revelation was perches grandiose demonic perches in the cemetery. What I mean by that is I could see in the spirit demons perching on the headstones and graves in the cemetery like a bird on a perch, resting, cleaning themselves and getting the ticks off themselves, and this kind of thing. It was a place of rest, because those that are in the cemetery, job's done. That's what demons want, people dead. Now, I say this very, very carefully, because there are people that think they can confront demons and these kinds of principalities and powers without considering the consequences of this. And I can tell you from decades of experience, that personal experience, horrific experience, some glorious, but for the most part not so glorious, in fact horrible, that demons are not to be trifled with. And once you instigate this kind of confrontation, you are setting yourself up for an assault. Now, the assault, the way in which these demons use people to come after you and come at you, will be through a relationship of one kind or another. It will be via an interference of a relationship. It'll be via some kind of family member trying to interfere in people's business. They will... What you hear in the background is the National Time Trials Ski Championship, time trials, and they're away. Wow, man, they are fast. Gee, that's scary. I can't get them up on the screen for you, sorry. But once you entertain or take on demons and things, you're going into a dimension that could send you into a catastrophic spiritual battle that could wear you out very quickly. And these demons, if they target you, may not disappear for decades. They'll haunt you, they'll torment you, they will destroy everything around you micro-incrementally until you're completely exhausted and worn out and there's nothing left. That's what these demons do. I've experienced it, I've seen it, I've lost 2 marriages over the power of demons and narcissism, the way in which they use it. And I have to say to you that I've never ever experienced anything as sustained, as catastrophic, as nasty and evil as the way in which demons demonstrate their evil power against the love and life of people in relationships. There are people who by nature have just given way to evil. They haven't got the consciousness, or their character and persona just bends them towards that way. If you mix that with demonic power, which usually will, it's like bees to honey, they'll hang around that kind of behavior and instigate it and inspire it. You'll find that people will have strange accidents. Bad illnesses will come for no reason. People will smoke themselves to death, thinking that that's not going to kill them. The demon's encouraging and inspiring all of this. People will drug themselves to death. They'll harm themselves via sex. consistently, they end up with sexual diseases and die, irreparable diseases. They run their spirits down to such an extent that their body can't repair itself. Unusual things happen, natural events happen that have no natural explanation for why they've happened. Things take place that shouldn't have happened, that just bring tragedy and loss to people. Take, for instance, the Kennedys. People commit suicide without explanation or warning, and people wonder why. The tormentors drove them to it, usually. They say you'll hear these mass murderers saying, the voices told me to do it. We know what the voices are. And these beings, these powers, will micro-incrementally destroy, bit by bit, people's lives. And they're at it 24/7. And quite frankly, there are people who seem to have a liking to the sense of hurting themselves, particularly smokers, people that consume alcohol. I have this picture here because we don't see what's going on underneath the surface of the body. People are destroying their insides, one smoke at a time, one drink at a time, one drug at a time. And you can't normally see this on the outside, particularly if they're young. As they get older, you can tell by the colour of their skin and the gauntness in their face and things that they are dying. They're just doing it slowly and determinedly. And my point is that demons do inflict tremendous trauma inside the mind and spirit of people, and they will use people to multiply this in the lives of the people around them. I know parents that just instinctively have encouraged their children to be on drugs. They were on drugs, so the children should be on drugs. These people need to be locked up. There's no excuse for this. There's no reason for this. But this is what they're doing. This is how they're playing it, and they're getting away with it. And it's wrong. So I just want to put it out there. When whoever you are listening to this, the people on why relationships fail, narcissism, demonology and the rest of it, do not underestimate that if you instigate demons, they don't go away. They're not necessarily just going to go away. They will torment you and try and break you psychologically in ways and means that you could not imagine. If it means causing a child to commit suicide or something of that nature, they'll do everything they can to make it happen. They'll do what they need to do to ruin and destroy the mind and the life of the people that are open and susceptible to their influences and destructive ways. They come to kill, steal, and destroy. The answer to this is to be close to Christ. But even that, as a minister, doesn't guarantee that they'll stop. It will protect you and get you into heaven if anything happens to you. But it doesn't guarantee that the demons will stop. I know this as a minister who lived a life of prayer and fasting and of the utmost integrity. And when they pulled my family apart, my first family apart, they did it with such evil magnificence. I know that sounds contradictory, but the magnificence and the way in which they completely pulled that family apart, my family apart, I cannot describe to you the narcissistic religious way in which they use these people to single-handedly destroy my family. It was just, I'll never forget how wicked it was. And there's other reasons why I know demons were all over it, which I might go into in another video, but for now, you must be warned. Demons are real and they will not stop. They'll find every opening they can to destroy everything they can in their path. They're parasites, but they're real and they're not to be underestimated. They don't go away just because you will them to. I put up with it for years and years. I begged God to stop the demonic attacks. They went on for years, over a decade after the family was broken. And without Christ, I don't know how I would have made it. I battled on. Strange accidents happened. A building company I was working for went broke. I lost hundreds of thousands of dollars. I mean, it went on and on and on and on and on and on and on. So talk about demons and go on about demons and all that, but and you know, go on about how great Jesus is. We know all this, but don't underestimate. If you attract them to yourself, they may never leave you alone for years. I've seen demons in the corners of houses, just watching and laughing at people destroying each other. I've just got a sense of where they are and what they're doing. I've had girlfriends that have been demonized. My last girlfriend, I accidentally was, you know, loving her and being close to her, and she nearly went mad because I upset her demons. She had demons, so I upset them. And we got through that. You've got to be, you know, some people like their demons. I'm sorry, it's just that some people like them. They don't know they're there, but you upset them and they will tell you to stop because they like them. But they're not going to admit that. It's quite bizarre, isn't it? I've watched people, you know, I did split up with my last girlfriend because I couldn't handle just watching her hurt herself anymore. You know? There's a lot more I could talk about. I won't for now. But do take this seriously. It's not a game. Narcissism's not a game. Relationships aren't a game. Demonology is definitely not a game. They're real. And they're doing a great work for Satan, even within religion, which is very, very sad. God bless you. Stay strong. Be honest. Be integral. Be moral. Enjoy life. This is Reverend Dr. J.W. Morrison, Theologist. Bye for now.